That's with me needs no introduction, but I'm going to tell you who he is just so that if you've lived in a cave for the last 500 years, Jimmy Houston. Man, Jimmy, this is an awesome day, man. We're up here at Watson's open house, and you're up here hanging out. What's it like being East Tennessee?
Well, it's fantastic here. You know, this country's a lot like Oklahoma, where I live at home, and the people are a lot like what we have at home. Just great folks. We had a tremendous crowd out here yesterday, and we're already beginning to get a lot of people here today, and I'm sure it's going to be more people today than it was yesterday. And one thing I think that everybody appreciates is all this pretty weather I brought here. You know, it was like, yesterday morning I think it was 5 degrees or something. This afternoon it's going to be 65. So I brought some Oklahoma weather just for you, Nathan.
You'll have to stay a little longer if you're going to keep that weather. Man, the food was awesome. People was awesome up here yesterday. Real big crowd up at Watson's, and every year at the open house seems like it's a little something different. That we get to learn or do something. And I know that everybody asks you the same questions. What's your favorite bait? What's your favorite fish place? I want to ask you a little something different. I saw you up here yesterday. You showed up at the place. Before you could get in the door, people were, wanting to talk to you, wanting to touch Jimmy Houston, wanting your autograph. And, we see you out there catching fish, fishing the tour, doing all the fishing things. But I saw a side of you yesterday that not a lot of people saw. I saw you stand on your feet for 7 or 8 hours, eating some chicken on the fly, constantly.
And fish. We had some great fish out
Oh,
there
it was
yesterday,
awesome,
too.
yes.
We sure did.
But that side of Jimmy Houston, signing autographs, talking to little kids, standing over there teaching people how to tie knots, really expanding, helping people learn how to fish. Now, to me, you guys sometimes don't get credit for that.
Well, most of the guys that that have been doing this as long as I have, one of the things that we love fishing, but we love people too.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons I believe that the sport has grown to where it is now, where guys are winning $100,000 in tournaments and winning $1 million in tournaments, $500,000, and why there is good fishing all over the country, why we have the type of boats and motors and rods and reels and tackles, is really, probably because a lot of the pioneers, people like, my buddies Roland Martin and Bill Dance and even Hank Parker. A lot of people think Hank is being a little bit young, but he's all his hair's falling out. Hank's not too far behind us, so Al Linder, up in the north, and all of those guys are really, really good friends of mine, and they all have sort of the same thing. They love to fish, but they love to share, what they've learned out there on the water. They love to get other people involved with it, and the kids is what really makes it special. It's kind of amazing to me that after all these years that those kids come up and they still. They still want to come up and meet you and talk to you and visit with you and tell you their fishing stories and show you the pictures of the fish they caught, and just like we've been doing the television show for 32 years, so we were obviously, it was all a lot younger back then, so the kids you sort of expected to, but now after all that time, and I did a deal with Bill Dance the other day, and I just watching those kids with Bill and the adoration and love that they have in their eyes when they look at you, it's just pretty special. It's a very special thing to be honored to get to do.
Well, you guys always have a good time.
We have fun.
You have
fun.
Go
with me. You're not gonna have fun. Stay home. That's all I can say.
That's the way it's supposed to be. And I'm a tournament fisherman, but by no means the level you guys are. But you get caught up in that competitive mood, and all you want to do is win sometimes.
Yeah, you're exactly
and you
right.
have to get out of that mode if you're going to be successful at what you guys do, because there's a lot of excellent fishermen that never make it.
You're right. And if there is a negative in tournament fishing, that probably is it. As a lot of people probably do not enjoy the fishing quite as much as they really should, because they are caught up in the tournament mode, and you got to have fun whether the fish are biting or not. You got to have fun when you're fishing a tournament, whether you're doing well in the tournament or not. And I'm not saying that at the end of the tournament, if you do poorly, you don't feel like you've been run over by a truck. Because you got to feel that way if you're going to be successful at it.
You have to have that drive.
And you have to have that really, really high that you get from doing well in a tournament. That's a special feeling when you do that. But and if you have goals that you're trying to accomplish, making a year-end championship or winning a tournament or winning a Angler of the Year title or something like that, you need those goals. But it's not the end of the world, if you don't make it, and it's also, not the epitome, when you do. So many people, when they have struggled so hard to win a tournament, and they win, and they're so elated and everything, and then the next day they're going like, well, is that all there is?
Is that all there is? Yeah. What's next?
And it is all there is. And so, it's like, it's a little bit like a great quarterback. The secret behind a great quarterback is He's got to immediately forget the last terrible play where he threw an interception, and also immediately forget the last great play where he threw a touchdown.
Short-term memory is not bad.
He's got to concentrate on the next day, and the next and the next day is always going to be for me. Yeah, Dave, I'm going to try to have a great time.
Well, let me ask you a couple of short answer questions. If I ask you who your greatest friend was outside your wife and your family, who would you say? Just
within the fishing industry?
Yeah, just who would you say? I know you have a lot.
I do. Hank Parker and I are extremely close. Roland Martin and I have probably fished and hunted together more than perhaps any of the other guys out there that hunt and fish. But over the years, Bill and Roland and Hank and I have become sort of a little bit of a fraternity, probably because we've been doing it a long time. I mentioned 32 years. Roland's been doing it a couple of years longer, and Dance has been doing it a couple of years longer than Roland. Of course, those guys are a lot older than me.
A lot older. Yeah, a lot. We won't go there. We won't go there. The next question. I know I heard you yesterday talking about your grandkids. I think shooting a bow out there in the garage and getting into hunting. I've got some grandkids myself, and I know I don't look like it either, but I do. I have 4. I know as a grandparent, one thing I'm focused on is leaving a legacy.
Oh, absolutely.
What kind of legacy when 25, 30, 100 years from now, when Jimmy Houston's no longer on this earth, what kind of legacy would you like to leave your family?
Yeah, I'd like for my kids and grandkids, and you're talking 100 years from now, great grandkids look back and say, my granddad was one guy that was always honest and had a lot of integrity and always tried to help people. He's a good Christian man. That's more important than winning tournaments. It's more important than whatever success you may achieve and whatever you try to achieve it in. At least that's what I believe.
Well, I tell you,
and one thing about it, I'm pretty sure all my great grandkids will be into fishing, is because I heard my buddy Garth Brooks one time say that he had more money than his grandkids could spend. I got more fishing lures.
So
I don't have any money.
So they're going to have to wear them out.
I have more fishing lures than my grandkids could lose. So they're going to have to do a lot of fishing.
Well, that's pretty cool. Now, I know that you mentioned Bill Dance. Now, I don't think I've ever saw you have a hat on in my life. Now, maybe in a tournament.
They tell me that hats will make your hair fall out. And if you look at Hank and Bill right now, they prove that.
Well, now Oklahoma plays some football, okay? But
Absolutely.
Now we're in Tennessee. Now land of the Big Orange.
I've carried your coach that just left after this year. He won a national championship here at Tennessee, Philip Fulmer. I've carried Philip fishing several times.
Did he catch him?
Yeah, Philip's not a bad fisherman.
Okay.
Not a bad fisherman.
Well, I've got a little special deal that I don't think it's ever happened before. Now, you mentioned that you and Bill were big buddies. Now, I was in Atlanta when the Bass Pro Shops opened up in Atlanta. Now, if you'd look at this, now is this now? Now, I noticed your personality.
Hello, everybody. I'm Bill Dance. Many times you'll find that if you're fishing this kind of lure right here, you'll catch those big giant fish like I catch it. And if you notice, one of the key things in landing a fish is let him swim around the boat. Teach them how to swim. That bass is 8 years old, does not know how to swim. I'm teaching them how to swim. So when you see me doing that, that's what I'm doing.
Milking the footage.
See y'all next week. Bill Dance. In the bathroom.
Is your hair thin already?
Already, it's getting thinner.
Oh, man.
That's cool, man. That's cool.
When Bass Pro Shops opened up, Bill signed that for me, so that's awesome. Listen,
that's a great antique. What I'd do if I were you is I'd save it, and when Bill dies, I'd sell it on eBay.
All right, man. Listen, Jimmy.
I appreciate it, Nathan.
I can't think. My hands are cold. I can't thank you enough for hanging out with me today, and just an awesome time. This is really special for me. And if you're ever back in East Tennessee and you want to go smallmouth fishing, we'll wait till it warms up a little bit. You've got an open invitation with me anytime.
I appreciate that a lot. I want to thank Aaron and all the folks here at Watson Marine for having us down here. It's been a great event. Aaron's a special guy, and it's just I can see why after spending a couple of days with Aaron why he's got so many customers.
Yeah.
He's a real good guy.
He's one of our show sponsors, takes good care of us, and it's a perfect place to come buy a boat, tackle anything you need.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
This is Nathan once again, a classic deal with 3B Outdoors, Jimmy Houston.
And Bill Dance.
And Bill Dance. So I don't know what to say. How can you close a deal like that? Except just stay tuned for more, and I don't know how we'll top it. But this is Nathan, 3B Outdoors, always bringing you awesome hunting and fishing.